Hello everyone, my name's Dillan Hackett, the Innovation Director at TQA Solutions, and I'm delighted to be showing off some of the new UiPath functionality around their new Agentic features today. So we're starting off actually in Studio Web. Now the reason for this is that these agents that we're building, you can kind of think of them as agentic skills that you want to be putting into your other workflows, which is why we're starting off here with a Studio Web workflow. It's very, very simple. We're actually going to deploy this into autopilot. So it's really got two tasks. One is to run the agent that we'll see in just a minute. And the other then is to invoke another workflow to actually request the team that the agent has recommended. So nice and simple to start off with, and our agent here is embedded within this Studio Web workflow. And as I say, we'll see how we can get that deployed to autopilot as we move through. Switching over then into the actual Agent Builder tool. This is how we're going to build out our agents that we can then use in those workflows. So the example here is our resourcing agent, and this is going to create a recommended team based on a resource request for a project and the available resources that we have within the business. Now, if I go down the left-hand side here, we can see we've got some general information before moving on to prompts and arguments. Now, these are how the agent is actually going to understand what it needs to do. And we've got two different types of prompts here, a system prompt to give the overall role for the particular agent, an agentic skill, and then a user prompt which goes into more detail about the specifics of what we're asking it to do. So in this case, we're asking it to run two different what are called tools, which are going to access the information that this agent needs in order to make the analysis and recommend a project team. As we go down then, we can see that we have a section for tools. Tools are the way that the agent is actually able to interact, if you like, with the outside world. And this could be a combination of predefined RPA processes that may go and gather information or otherwise do something that's pertinent for the agent to understand or know. Or they could be tools that interact directly with different systems, a little bit like the integration service now. The tools we have are two RPA processes. They're very simple. They're going to get the resource requests and then also get information about the resources and availability within the business. Moving down then, we also have some context. So given that this is driven by LLM technology, which is very broad, we can use context and context grounding in order to give this agent more information that's specific to our business and our use case. And this really makes this agent an agent that works for us as opposed to something that is more generic. And in this context, you could have lots of different types of information, such as user guides or general information about the business. Finally, then we have escalations. Now, this is a key part of any agent that we build. Essentially, if the agent comes across any issues, and then that could mean a human being reviewing maybe some information, or it could be that the agent is sort of passing off that case because it's not something that the agent can do. Moving across the top then here, we also have a couple more tabs. So if we move to the evaluations tab, this is effectively how we can test out our robots and our agents, and make sure that they are doing what we need them to do. So you can effectively create test sets which predefine inputs and then the types of outputs that we should expect, and then run those tests in an evaluation set. Finally, we have traces. Traces are a little bit like the logs essentially for the agent. So you'll be able to see every time it's run and view inside that trace to see exactly what it did during that run. Okay, so here we are in autopilot to see how this is all going to come together. Now you'll see in the interest of time, I've already asked it to get the resource request. This is just a normal autopilot process in the background to go and essentially just show me the resource requests. So it's pulled back the information across a couple of different projects which are open and need resourcing. So what we're going to do now is focusing on this Oscar Health example. We've got a full sort of team there with some additional requests. So we're going to ask it to create a recommended team for the Oscar Health project, which should get us through to this agent. So at this point, autopilot is recognizing that we need to use that agent, and more specifically the workflow that we created in Studio Web. So it's now running that workflow, which contains both our agent and then also making the request to the resource manager. And there we go, we've got our results from the workflow. So this has kicked off that Studio Web workflow, which is also then invokes the agent. And as we can see here, it has fleshed out that project team with the available resources, also taking into account any specific requests that were in the original resource request, such as a named individual here, Kimberly, as the project manager. And it's also given a little bit of demonstration as to why it's made those decisions. Now it's also going to have sent the resource request off to the resource manager, which we can see confirmed in the text there, showing that both the agent and the workflow completed successfully. So that's it for this demo. I hope it was useful, and good luck as you begin to explore this exciting technology. Goodbye.